It begins with a flicker on a screen, a news report from thousands of miles away. The images are familiar, urgent headlines, scrolling tickers, a sense of crisis unfolding somewhere far beyond our daily routines. We watch, perhaps with a sense of detachment, as the world's troubles play out in real time. A drone strike in the desert, a naval vessel patrolling a narrow strait. For most of us, these events feel distant, almost abstract, like scenes from a movie rather than moments that will shape our own lives. Yet, these distant actions set off ripples that travel farther than we imagine, but their consequences travel across oceans and continents, arriving as a number on a petrol station sign. That number is more than just a statistic. It's a signal that the world's turmoil has reached our doorstep. That number climbs higher, turning a routine act, filling your car, into a moment of financial anxiety. Suddenly, every drop of fuel feels precious, and every trip to the pump is a reminder of how fragile our sense of normalcy can be. This is the reality of our interconnected world in 2026. No matter where we live, the pulse of global events beats in time with our daily lives, shaping the rhythm of our cities and the choices we make. A political standoff in the Middle East can dictate the cost of your morning commute, the route you take, the errands you run, even the groceries you buy. All are influenced by decisions made in distant capitals. The tension between the United States and Iran, a saga of mistrust and confrontation, has reached a boiling point. Decades of history, diplomacy, and rivalry have led to this moment where every gesture is scrutinized and every word can spark a new crisis. It's a conflict fought with sanctions, rhetoric, and military hardware, but its true battlefield is global. The world's supply chains, energy markets, and economies are all caught in the crossfire, vulnerable to every escalation. The price at the pump is more than just a number, it's a barometer of global stability. Each fluctuation tells a story of uncertainty, of markets reacting to headlines and rumors, of families recalculating their budgets. We expect the lights to turn on, the fuel to flow, but these systems operate on a knife's edge. The infrastructure we rely on is more fragile than it appears, dependent on peace in places we may never visit. When calm is shattered, shockwaves are felt everywhere. A single incident can send markets tumbling, disrupt supply lines, and leave millions scrambling to adapt. The current crisis is a stark reminder of this vulnerability. Empty gas stations and anxious faces are not just images on a screen, they are the new reality for many. Decisions made in Washington and Tehran have a direct, painful impact on billions of people. From small businesses to families, everyone feels the strain as costs rise and uncertainty grows. The distant conflict is not so distant after all, it's become personal, shaping the choices we make every day. We weigh every purchase, reconsider every plan, and wonder how long this uncertainty will last. The tension in the Persian Gulf has jumped from the news ticker to our bank statements, forcing us all to pay attention. In a world more connected than ever, the cost of conflict is never far from home. To truly understand the crisis unfolding today, start by looking at an energy map. The Middle East glows with unmatched intensity, a beacon of power and resources that the world cannot ignore. This region is not just a collection of countries, it's the beating heart of the global energy system, where the fate of nations is often decided by the flow of oil. For over a century, the Middle East has been the world's primary source of crude oil, fueling economies from New York to New Delhi. The region's vast reserves have shaped modern history, driving industrial revolutions, economic booms, and, at times, devastating conflicts. At the very heart of this landscape lies Iran, a nation sitting atop the fourth largest proven oil reserves on the planet. Its oil fields stretch for miles, and its pipelines are lifelines not just for Iran, but for the world. The US-Iran relationship has been fraught with hostility since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, creating a permanent state of tension that reverberates far beyond their borders. Decades of mistrust, broken agreements, and shifting alliances have only deepened the divide. US sanctions aim to cripple Iran's economy by restricting oil sales. For Iran, oil is not just income, but leverage, national pride, and a symbol of sovereignty. Every barrel sold or blocked is a move in a high-stakes geopolitical chess game. When these powerful forces collide, the global energy market holds its breath. Oil prices can swing wildly, affecting everything from the cost of gasoline to the stability of entire economies. Iran's significance extends far beyond its oil fields. Its strategic location borders the Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman, two waterways that are critical arteries for global energy transit. Nearly a third of the world's seaborne oil passes through these narrow straits. Iran is both a major producer and a gatekeeper for its neighbors' oil, controlling access to vital export routes and influencing the flow of energy to global markets. Its stability and policies are matters of global importance, influencing not just regional politics, but the world's energy supply and economic health. When tensions escalate, the stakes are high for everyone, from world leaders and oil traders to ordinary people at the gas pump. The current standoff is not just a bilateral dispute, it's a global problem, with ripple effects that can be felt in every corner of the world. The world economy relies on the predictable flow of Middle Eastern oil, and any disruption sends shockwaves through international markets, threatening growth and stability. The powder keg of grievances and competition threatens to explode at any moment, and as the world watches, everyone braces for the fallout, hoping for stability but preparing for crisis. Tensions in early 2026 quickly escalated from words to military action. It began with attacks on oil tankers near the Gulf, blamed on proxy militias, creating fear and uncertainty. Shipping insurance premiums soared overnight. Then, a U.S. airstrike targeted an Iranian commander. Tehran vowed a crushing response. Iran launched ballistic missiles at bases hosting U.S. troops. No major casualties, but the message was clear. The conflict moved from proxy warfare to direct confrontation. Cyber attacks targeted port operations and oil infrastructure, disrupting logistics and sowing chaos. Naval patrols became more aggressive, U.S. carrier groups deployed, Iranian boats tested boundaries. Each action brought both nations closer to full-scale war, with unimaginable consequences. Oil markets reacted instantly, the risk premium soared to its highest in a decade. Traders began pricing in the possibility of war, not just supply and demand. The rising tension became a clear and present danger to global energy stability. To truly grasp the fragility of our global energy system, you have to understand the geography of oil and how a single point on the map can shape the fate of nations. Nearly a fifth of the world's daily oil supply, millions of barrels, passes through a single narrow channel, the Strait of Hormuz, a maritime bottleneck with global consequences. Just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, this strait is the world's most important oil transit choke point, a slender corridor that connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. Iran controls the strait's entire northern coastline, and for decades, it has threatened to close the passage in response to foreign pressure or military attack. This is Tehran's ultimate trump card, a weapon of immense economic power, capable of disrupting the world's energy lifeline with a single decision. And closure doesn't require a full-scale blockade. Even a handful of naval mines, anti-ship missiles, or swarms of fast attack boats could make the strait too dangerous for commercial shipping. The mere threat of disruption sends shockwaves through global markets. Insurers and shippers would halt traffic, oil prices would spike, and economies everywhere would feel the impact within days. The world has no easy alternative. Pipelines that bypass the strait exist, but they carry only a fraction of the oil that flows through Hormuz each day, leaving most exports vulnerable. Rerouting tankers around Africa's Cape of Good Hope adds weeks to delivery times and piles on enormous costs, making it an impractical solution for most nations. For now, the global economy remains deeply dependent on this vulnerable waterway, with every major oil importer watching events here with anxious eyes. The Strait of Hormuz is the world's energy jugular, and Iran's hand is always close to it, ready to squeeze if provoked. With recent escalations and military standoffs, this vulnerability has become impossible to ignore, reminding the world just how easily the flow of energy can be held hostage. The most visible consequence of the Gulf crisis was the surge in fuel prices. As oil shot past $120 a barrel, consumers felt the impact instantly. Filling up a car became a financial burden. Higher transport costs rippled through the economy. The price of food, goods, and services all rose, fueling inflation. This hidden tax hit lower and middle-income households hardest. Businesses faced higher costs, shrinking profits, and sometimes layoffs. As consumers cut back, the slowdown became self-fulfilling. The crisis showed that energy is the master commodity. Its price shapes the price of everything else. The global became personal, measured in pounds and pence at the checkout. Faced with a supply shock, nations scrambled to secure energy. Major importers like China and India sought alternative oil sources, driving up prices further. The U.S. ramped up domestic production and released strategic reserves, a temporary fix. The crisis exposed over-reliance on imported fossil fuels, especially in Europe. Governments fast-tracked renewables and invested in new energy tech. The crisis added urgency to the clean energy transition, but short-term needs clashed with long-term goals. Some choices were uncomfortable. Energy security, climate commitments, and affordability collided. The global response was a mix of strategy and panic, as each nation navigated its own vulnerabilities. In the scramble for energy security, the world reluctantly turned back to coal. With oil and gas prices spiking, some countries delayed closing coal plants or even restarted old ones. This setback undermined climate goals. Coal is the dirtiest fossil fuel. Even a short-term increase in coal use could push the world further from Paris Agreement targets. Poorer nations suffered most, facing blackouts and economic distress. The crisis diverted resources from green investments to fuel subsidies and military spending. The momentum for climate action was lost, overshadowed by immediate energy needs. The world traded long-term sustainability for short-term survival. Ultimately, the global energy crisis is about people. The taxi driver in London, the farmer in Kenya, the family in Germany, all feel the impact. A conflict that began in distant capitals found its way to kitchen tables worldwide. The crisis shattered the illusion that we're insulated from global events. The security of a shipping lane is tied to our household finances. We are all on the front line of these crises, whether we realize it or not. The challenge is awareness and engagement. Understanding the forces that shape our lives. Being informed is a tool for resilience and accountability. The US-Iran crisis may fade, but the vulnerabilities remain. Another crisis could trigger the same cycle. In the 21st century, there is no over there, only here. Recognizing our stake in global stability is the first step to navigating the future.